Hey, so I figured let's have a little chat. Well, first off, I wanted to talk about why I'm doing this. I've mentioned this a couple of times before, but I was thinking about it more this morning. I am being very open and vulnerable in these videos, and I've been getting comments about it, and thank you so much for your support. I really appreciate it, because sometimes if you don't get any feedback, you're like, oh my God, what am I doing this for? Do I look like a complete idiot? But the reason I'm doing this is because I came out of a really serious depression last year, and I've been working on keeping myself out, and that requires a lot of mindset changes and such things. So thank you, Christian. Which is something I'm like actively working on. Like, it's not, it's funny, when I was in my depression and going to therapy and stuff like that, you're in this different mindset where for some reason you don't think, you have to work on it, but you just don't, no matter how many things you read about it, and I wasn't reading the right things, it just doesn't click, you know what I mean? Like, okay, I have to work actively on this, and that's what I'm doing. So the reason I am putting myself out there like this is because I know there are other people. Look, I was 41, broke as shit, regretting so much, like every day just stewing in regret, like thinking it was completely impossible for me to get any better. Like, okay wasn't a thing. Like, I was like, I don't know, I couldn't even imagine what okay felt like. Didn't even like, I went to work, I came home, I went to bed. I got up, I moaned and groaned about having to get up. I had to literally push myself out of bed sometimes, like flip onto my stomach and push myself up with my arms. You know what I mean? Like, it's miserable. And when you're like that, you don't think it's gonna end. You really don't. You're just like, this is just how it is. Like, and even if you talk, like, my therapist was really great. She's awesome, and she died 2 years ago, which was awful. But I saw her for like 15 years, and she was awesome. But if you're not in the mindset, it doesn't matter. If you're not in the mindset of being able to accept help or being open to certain ideas, like, no matter what I did, I wasn't going to get better because I didn't believe I could get better. And the fact that she would say, no, you can get better from this. It's okay. Like, you can. I was like, yeah, okay. I don't know what you're talking about, lady. But I was in this awful place, right? And I do still regret a lot of things, and I'm working on that because regret's not useful. Sorry, I'm having an emotion right now, which I'm trying to allow myself to feel. And I was broke, and I am working. I'm working on not being broke. I'm starting a business. But I know there are other people out there that feel this way, that feel that there isn't hope and that there's no way out for them. I mean, like, that this is just it. This is my life, and this is how I'm going to live my life. I'm going to be 50, 60, 70 years old, and all I'm going to do is regret my life. And that's a terrifying thought, but when you're depressed, it seems inevitable, or it fills you with terror, but you don't know that's more what it is. You don't know what to do about it. That's why I'm doing this, because I know there are people out there feeling the feeling, breathing, relaxing my shoulders, allowing it to flow. I know there are people out there that don't have hope and that feel that way. Oh my God, if I can help one person to realize that they don't have to feel that way, it's a lot of work, and there's a pain that goes on with it, but it's not worse than the pain you're in right now. It's actually better because you can feel it leaving. But the thing about that is, it's not a pleasant feeling when it's leaving. I keep saying I'm reading these Michael Singer books. Sorry, I've been walking up a little bit of a hill, that's why I'm winded. And also I'm feeling this feeling which makes me feel a little ill. I've been reading these Michael Singer books, right? I'm going to take a little break here. Because I don't want to go into a more public area with a phone in front of my face. I've been reading these Michael Singer books that have been really speaking to me and helping me transform. One of the things he talks about is observing your emotions, observing your psyche, observing your thoughts, because your thoughts, your psyche, and your emotions are not you. You are the person who is conscious of them, right? That's all. You're this light being that is conscious of their insides and their outsides. And if you can allow the energy of the emotion to pass through you, it comes and it goes. Just like that postal van came and went, right? Like, okay, it comes, it goes. I don't hang on to it. But there have been a lot of things throughout life that everybody hangs on to, right? Everybody tries to push away. Everybody tries to clutch. Whatever, however, whether it's good or bad, when you're pushing it away, you're holding on to it because you're constantly pushing it away. It doesn't go away. You're just always pushing it. So what I've been working on is doing what. So the other thing. Sorry, I go off on tangents here. The other thing is that letting go. The concept of letting go has never been clear to me. Like, I know what it is logically, but how to do it has never sunk in. People are just like, no, you just let it go. You just accept it. And you're like, I'm not good at that. How do I do that? Clearly, I have a problem with letting go and accepting things. And if I knew how to do it, I wouldn't have this problem. So how do you do it? And Michael Singer in The Untethered Soul and The Surrender Experiment and Living from a Place of Surrender talks about it mostly more in the latter two books. I'm gonna sit down and let's have a heart to heart. He talks about it, and what it is when you start to feel the feeling, right? Whatever feeling it is, you tense up automatically. You're trying to, you hold it. It hits your stuff, the stuff that's already blocked inside of you. It sets off those feelings, it makes them worse, and you hold it there. Because you're afraid to feel it, right? Like, I honestly, up until very recently, maybe logically knew that my feelings weren't going to kill me, but I would panic so much when I would feel this hurt, and it didn't come from the situation I was going through. I mean, in part, yes, but it came from the abandonment issues I had, or the, you know what I mean? Like, or my daddy didn't love me enough. It's true. Cliche, but true. I didn't feel what I needed. I didn't get what I needed from my relationship with my father, which is the first relationship with a man that any girl has, right? And it's your blueprint for how men are supposed to treat you. And don't get me wrong, my father's a great guy. I love him to pieces. He just wasn't capable of giving me what I needed. So you grow up and you have to deal with it on your own, right? Because it's actually your responsibility to deal with what's inside, not someone else's who gave you the feeling. Or whose actions inspired the feeling inside of you. However you want to say it. I'm getting off topic. But the point is, you feel the feeling and you tense up, right? Because it hurts. The way a physical thing hurts. The way a physical thing hurts when you tense up, like, you know what I mean? But when you start to feel it, you recognize that that's what's happening. You take a deep breath, you relax your shoulders, you relax anything that's clenched. You put your consciousness on that feeling that you're having. And it's generally in your body, right? It actually translates to a physical feeling because your mind and your body, crazy connection. That's another subject. But you allow it to flow and you put your consciousness on it and you feel it and you just allow it to be. And that's what I'm working on. I am going through now this is another thing. I'm going through a particularly hard time right now. My recent progress on my mental health is being a little challenged, but not really, because I don't feel like it's not a challenge to my mental health. It's a challenge to the fact that in this situation, I've never been in this situation in a healthy mindset or anything close to a healthy mindset. So I'm going to talk about the situation. Now, I know that I seem really open and I just let it all hang out, and that's true. That's what I'm doing. I'm doing that for a reason, though. Normally, yeah, I'm a very open person with my emotions to my friends and even people that I that I feel could benefit from it. But I grew up Irish Catholic. We don't let shit hang out, and I particularly avoid specifics about my life. Like, I'll talk about my emotions, but you know, my business is my business. That's how I feel about it. So I was thinking about that this morning because I've been talking about how I've been feeling, but I haven't really been going into why. And you know, as someone who grew up in the culture that I grew up in, that's putting something on somebody else. That's like burdening someone with someone else, and also that's mine. You know what I mean? That's mine. And like it's none of your business, right? But what I'm going through is a very common thing, and I know that. All right, it's a breakup, right? You know what I mean? Like, see, I'm going through a breakup, and any other time I've gone through a breakup, I have panicked and I have sobbed. Feeling the feeling. Okay. And going through it this time is different, but the reason I'm telling you that I'm going through a breakup is because it's common. And I realize I'm being selfish by not talking about it. And I mean, I'm not going to implicate anybody else. I'm not going to talk about the person. Look at my hair. I'm not going to talk about the person that I broke up with specifically, other than to mention the circumstances. We love each other very much. We still love each other. We want to be together. We want to plan a life together, but because of some outside circumstances, which are incredibly unfair, but exist and have to be accepted, we can't be together. And we've been trying to break up since January or February. We've been together for 3 years in February, so more than 3 years now. And we've been trying to break up. We break up, and then it's just, we can't, we couldn't. We kept getting back together. Accidentally, right? And then we break up again and whatever. And so the last time we broke up was like 2 or 3 months ago, so it's been a while. But in the interim, we have had time together. And we never said we were back together, but we've been back together for like a couple of days. Not like I'd stay a weekend or a week or a week over there or whatever. But this time, you know, it's been getting less and less frequent and less time. The back together part, you know, every time it happens. And it, of course, basically when it started, the stress of it really started to affect our relationship is when we started this process. But this last time I saw him again last weekend, and this is the last time. I've said that like 5 times, 10 times before, but I'm actually accepting it and allowing myself to feel it. Now, when I say accepting it, I'm still in denial. But okay, the reason I am telling you this is because other people go through breakups, and if I had someone to help guide me and navigate these feelings from my perspective, you know what I mean? Like other people, healthy people, you know, they can tell you how to go about it, but they don't really know what's going on with you. So I thought that I would share this with you because maybe you would derive some use from it. Maybe there's something in here that you can use to help yourself. So I'm going to be as open as I can, describe to you what I'm feeling, and describe to you how I'm coping with it. So I really hope that this helps at least one person, because if it doesn't, what the hell? Why am I telling everybody my shit, right? like this is this is not something you do when you're Irish Catholic and from the north, right? So anyway, I hope somebody out there is finding this useful. What I've been doing is this whole practice of when I tense up, I've been breathing and putting my consciousness on my feeling, and it has not been pleasant. I'll be honest with you, but I haven't been panicking. Now, something that I thought was really interesting, and actually, Christian, you talked about this in a post a couple of days ago, was that the area that you feel the emotion in I mean, most people, and most of the time, it's in your heart, right? Like, that's where the blockage is. That's where you're holding it. That's where the pain and that for me, it was always like, it felt like a melon ball scooper had scooped out my heart. Like, that's the feeling I had. I don't know why, but it was a melon ball scooper that had scooped out my insides, my heart specifically, but then everything else. And like, I couldn't walk. I couldn't, anyway, I couldn't breathe. But that always seemed to be focused in my heart area, right? Also, you know, also my stomach. I always have held anxiety in my stomach, and a lot of people do. But I actually breathed through the heart stuff a couple of weeks ago. Well, not a couple of weeks ago, like a week ago. Let's be honest. It hasn't been often. It hasn't been that recent or that far, long ago. Whatever. You know the word I'm trying to say. And I discovered that I'm not feeling it in my heart as much. I mean, certainly it's there, but the main place I'm feeling it is my stomach and my gut. And it's weird because in a way it feels like I'm not having an emotion. It feels like I'm just having it's not the same feeling as stomach upset, but it's like, it's a weird feeling, and I'm dealing with it in a way I've never dealt with it before. I've never had tools to help me cope. I've never been able to look at this and not panic and freak out and just lose myself in the grief for years. You guys, for years. So sorry, I just got distracted. So I've been breathing through it, and last night, well, the day before last, 2 days ago, I'm like this. 2 days ago, I decided to, like, I realized that I was feeling it in my stomach, right? I realized that that's what was going on. Like, I was baffled by the fact that I wasn't having those pains in my heart. I was actually feeling really guilty about it, because I was like, does that mean that I didn't love him, or that I don't love him? But I don't think that's what it means. I was feeling it in my stomach. I can't eat. You know what I mean? Like, I still can't eat. It feels, but so I was like, oh my God, I'm feeling, and that took me a second to sort of digest, right? And then yesterday, after listening to Michael Singer again and again, you know, the day before, I started doing these relaxing, right? Really taking that seriously. Like, I'm not trying. Yeah, trying, right? Because when you try, you don't actually do. But I've been trying to do it for a little while. But I started really, I got it yesterday. And I guess, you know, and that's another thing I want to tell you. Like, when you start doing this, it's so new that you're like, I don't know if I can't seem to do it. Like, I don't have the knack. Like, don't give up. Just keep doing it. You'll figure it out. It comes to you. It's just you're not used to it and you don't know how to do it, because if you knew how to do it, you'd be doing it, right? So you got to learn it. Don't give up. So I finally got it, and I started breathing through it and putting the awareness. Breathe through it. Relax. Okay. I started putting the awareness to where it was hurting, right? Because it is a physical feeling. And this burning started happening. And that's something that Michael Singer, I'm like a cultist at this point about Michael Singer, but that's what he actually has talked about, how that can happen. If you feel this burning, it's actually the emotions being purified, being burned out of your system, basically. Last night, so the last 2 nights I haven't been able to sleep. And I thought it was because I had coffee the night before last, like afternoon, because that affects me a lot. But I don't think it was that. I think it's what I'm going through. I just haven't been in touch with it, which is something you got to work on, and that's a subject for another video, because frankly, this has gotten too long. But last night I was up to like 3:30 in the morning, and honestly, like, I felt miserable. My stomach, like, I was retching. I was literally dry heaving, and I couldn't eat anything all day, yet somehow I gained 2 pounds this morning. And it felt awful. It felt awful, but I wasn't panicking, which is new. And I knew what it was, I guess because I knew what it was, right? And I knew that it wasn't going to last forever, that it's not going to last forever, because it's not stopped yet. I still feel pretty sick. But I'm being aware of it, and I'm observing it. This is the thing, you observe it. You sit back, you lean away from it, you don't get involved with it. Don't involve yourself with it. Don't get caught up in those thoughts and those feelings. And if you do, Don't beat yourself up about it. Just realize that that's what's happening. Notice it, relax, and just observe what's going on in your mind, what's going on in your body, and which is what I'm doing right now. And it fucking sucks. Like it sucks. But once you go through it and you release it, supposedly, it's gone. And of course, pain's gonna happen all throughout life. That's what life is about. Look at this. You know, life has a lot of pain, and you're not going to stop feeling it, but you're going to be able to let it go. It's not going to stop you the way it stops. It's not going to stop me the way it stopped me before, right? It's not going to just halt me in my tracks. I'm going to continue to do what I got to do. Another thing is get something to distract yourself. You know what I mean? Like, don't avoid the feeling, but like right now I'm starting a business and I have a lot to do. So I'm fortunate in that I have something to focus, something else that's really important for me to focus on. And that's why the focus thing from yesterday happened, and we'll talk about more about that later. Yeah, so I'm not quite sure how to sum this video up, but I hope it's been helpful. Put any comments below and let's help each other out, okay? Let me know how you're feeling. Let me know if I can help. And yeah, just keep on keeping on. And remember, you can always choose, and you can choose to have a grateful day.